I am going to attempt to bring the events, the reality edits, the nature of reality, the nature of the matrix within our bookends. So, in like response to Matt, these things can't be done by men and women. But that's all that's within most of our bookends. So it's hard for us to discuss these things intelligently. We need common reference points in order to analogize about what we're talking about. Mandela effect, reality edits, some kind of time technology. So I think what we have to do is go back and look for common elements in our primary experience, things that we know are real. And I'm going to look at some movies as well, because there's certain movies that just aren't movies. Brainstorm is a huge one. 1983, same year as War Games. These movies were written by the screen, but the screen can't produce anything. Can't write good music, can't write good anything. So we have two alternatives. One, a real person wrote it, like the Beatles songs, how I say. The second alternative is that no one wrote it. So they can't write good stories, but if it's the truth, you see, they don't have to write a story to tell the truth. All they have to tell us is that it's a lie. Everything's inverted. So we're going to look at elements from our primary experience to try and verify that this is possible. Reality edits are possible, and that changes to an individual's virtual environment, which is all they ever experience, can be done externally. An external force can implement a change in your reality, your virtual environment, from outside of your control. Scientists plant false memories in mice, and mice buy it. Activation of neurons during memory formation is sufficient for an animal to later recall that memory. This is from Scientific American. You know you can trust Scientific American because they did that excellent breakdown of 7-Eleven for us. Scientists at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology have developed the ability to implant mice with false memories. The memories can be easily induced and are just as strong as real memories. Physiological proof of something psychologists and lawyers have known for years. Yuck, 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 yuck. And this Scientific American article prominently features the McMartin preschool case. Hope you're all familiar with this story in general about the memory implants. And I really hope you're familiar with the McMartin case, okay? This is big. This is like basic foundational level pizza portal research. You got to know about this stuff. In the longest criminal trial in American history. Hello, McFly. You think that might be important? Think there might be something going on there? The McMartin family, who operated a preschool in California, was charged with multiple incidents of child abuse after 7 years and $15 million in prosecution expenses. 5 in prosecution expenses. Some charges were dropped and the defendants were acquitted of others when it became clear some of the accusations were based on false memories. Oh, did that become clear? I guess it had to become clear, or you'd have a real fucking problem on your hands. So we're going to go with that. Possibly planted by the children's therapists. There is now a false memory syndrome in scientific literature and a false memory syndrome foundation. It's so funny, like, because they everything's the truth and a lie. This is all like prelude to the Mandela effect and really severe reality edits becoming obvious. We're going to create a whole new syndrome in order to defend these satanic blood sacrificers. There's now a false memory syndrome in scientific literature and a false memory syndrome foundation. They set all this up just for this case. If you don't know about the case, the deal with the case is it's a preschool. Many different kids report from the preschool that they're being brought out in secret tunnels under the daycare and brought to they don't know where, presumably around LA, around California and that area, and basically being abused by strangers for money. So it's not a daycare, it's a brothel. Terrible, disgusting. That's what that case was about. Then we have the parallel reality screen from a couple of days ago. If you don't think it's real, take a flight, take a connection through Detroit. This is the screen that it's one big screen, and there's like an objective message, but it shows everyone who's looking at the screen something different. They call it multi-view pixels. Look back a couple videos ago. The Occult video, I think I was talking about this, the parallel reality screen. It's not going to make travel easier. It's not going to make them any money. It's going to cost them a shitload of money. It's a truth drop. It's reality being revealed. It has nothing to do with business or customer service or anything else. So we got the mice. We got the parallel reality screen. What else can we see in primary experience to verify reality edits? Prosthetic leg with neurofeedback makes walking easier, treats phantom pain. So, again, if you don't believe it, you don't know anyone with a prosthetic, I don't know. Go volunteer at the VA, go volunteer at the Lions Club or whatever, and work with some of these guys. So basically how it works is they put a shoe, it doesn't have to be a shoe, but they put sensors into the prosthetic, pressure and motion sensors. They tie these in with an interface to the remaining legs in the amputated limb. And basically it sends signals up the nerve to the brain to create feedback so it can be more like naturally walking. Okay, and about halfway down the quote here. This proof of concept study shows how beneficial it is to the health of leg amputees to have a prosthesis that works with neural implants to restore sensory feedback, said Stanisa Raspopovic, a professor at the Institute of Robotics and Intelligent Systems at ETH Zurich. So these exist. This is real. And this is, I think, the most applicable area, most poignant, and I have personal experience with this. This is from National Institutes of Health, U.S. National Library. This is the National Library of Medicine. These are going to be medical, scientific journal articles. This is from 2012, so this is old. A brain-computer interface-based attention training program for treating attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Move this over. Okay. This new system monitored attention through a headband with dry EEG sensors, which was used to drive a feed-forward game. Yeah, so basically when I used this, I remember honestly way back, way before 2012. I want to say the first time I encountered this, I was maybe like 7 or 8 years old. It should be like 96 95, 96. I know it sounds crazy. Maybe 98. Maybe I was like 12. Maybe it was like closer to the year 2000. But anyhow, as a kid, I can't explain to you exactly why. Maybe I'll get more into my personal mysteries, life mysteries as I get older. But I don't know a lot of the reasons why certain things happened in my childhood. I had some strange situations. I'm adopted. I had a lot of weird medical procedures happening. But anyway, I was sent. I had to go see a psychiatrist. And I don't know why. I didn't hurt anyone. I didn't hurt myself. It was nothing crazy like that. I think it was more just the life situations I was in. People, I was just kind of expected to have problems. But I don't. I'm sharp as a tack. Anywho. So yeah, I remember the first iteration is they put this thing on your head. And I think the first ones might not even have been on a screen. It's like an air tube with balls, and you like move the ball like up and down this magnetic tube. And then they started with the screen games, where you actually have a computer interface, and it was similar in the beginning, just like moving balls and shit, or maybe moving one ball. And the way these work is, these guys, personally, I don't think they understand brain waves or thought patterns. I don't think they really understand how it works. But the beauty of it is they don't have to understand how it works. They put the EEG, they put the helmet or the band on your head, and they say, imagine moving the ball up. Try and move the ball up. Nothing's going to happen because it doesn't have your brain waves yet. But you try to move it up, and basically it just makes a recording of the pattern, the electrical pattern, trying to move. Then they say, it didn't work. Wait, now try to move it down. And then it records that pattern of nothing happens, but you're trying to move it down. And it sets that in as like the template. So now it knows when you're trying to move it up and when you're trying to move it down. Not because it can actually read these signals, but it can just match them up. Like it records you trying to move it up. So then in the future, when you again try to move it up, it recognizes that, identifies that as moving up, and it will respond to you. So this is 2012. Then I found a newer one from 2019. And you got to remember, guys, this is like family doctors, family therapists, the military intelligence has been all over this shit forever. Like what we see here is the Tonka trucks compared to a stealth bomber. Like this is like the most basic iteration of this technology. And they've been able to keep it pretty well out of most, especially older people's awareness. If you didn't grow up with this kind of stuff, I can understand how it's hard to believe that you can directly interface back and forth with virtual environments, systems, computers. But for me, I've been familiar with it my whole life. I know it's real. I've seen it for myself. Now, this is from 2019. This is a newer article. This is a new unit. Rather than the generic ones in a graphically appealing training environment, in this work, for the first time, we have modified a widely used P300-based Speller BCI and used it as an engaging neurofeedback training game to enhance P300. That's the unit. According to the user's performance, the game becomes more difficult in an adaptive manner, requiring the generation of a larger and stronger P300 in terms of total energy in response to target stimuli. So basically, as we move forward in time, and like I said, they're centuries ahead behind the scenes. This is what's on the shelf at Toys R Us. So the first iteration, like the 2012 article, they're just like, does this work? Can we play games strictly with just the brain interface and EEG band? Yeah, we can. How? how finely tuned does it? Yeah, it works. And it's just kind of like the novelty of it. Now, and this is still just Toys R Us out front, but now they're moving more towards like, so like I said, it records your up, it records your down. But now as time goes on, it won't, like you give that up signal that usually sends it all the way to the top, the ball. But now as time goes on, it won't work anymore. And it requires you to focus more energy to get it to the top. And this, or down. And it'll continually increase the resistance. So it becomes like a training with a lead suit on, where it's like you can laser focus your mind. And really see the results. Like you're getting this feedback. You can feel it getting harder. It's like a visceral thing. You can feel yourself really turning your consciousness into a laser. I've thought about getting one of these at home again, and seeing what I could use it for away from the poisonous influence of these psychiatrists and fucking head doctors and these guys. I was saying they're not expensive. I was thinking about setting one of these up in my house and seeing what I could come up with, because I have some of my own exercises that I want to lay out on this channel in the future too, and I'm pretty sure I could make them really potent working in a BCI system with them. And this is part of the abstract from the 2019 one. Just a little explanation of what BCI is. Brain-computer interface provides a direct communication pathway between the human's brain and an external device. Yeah, and see, this first one's from 2002. They've had this shit forever. Especially if you're someone of interest to them, trust me, you'll see this type of shit. They'll pull it out of the cabinet for you. Using appropriate sensors and computational algorithms, BCI analyzes brain signals, extracts relevant brain patterns, and translates them to control signals. So like I said, it doesn't know what the signals mean, but it can learn what they mean just by matching. They're too intricate, too complicated for us to really read and write on like a character level or a symbol level at this point. At least the upfront Toys R Us products are. I'm sure they can do that, the guys behind the curtain. Different aspects of neural activities could be very well associated with different cognitive, behavioral, or emotional states, such as attention, memory, mood, etc. As a neurofeedback training tool, BCI needs to measure changes in relevant neural markers that have implication on the intended emotional states or cognitive performances. And see, now they're getting into this stuff. Emotional states. This is an example of one of these games that I'm talking about. I've played these kind of games as a younger kid. Again, they made me do it again. A phony court case. They wrangled me back in again from like 14 to 20 and had me doing all this shit. Court ordered, strapping all this shit to my head. Recording my brain signals. They'll never understand anyway. It's like, they can't use what I got anyway. They're like mice. They're like cats banging on a keyboard. They see me do it. They think they can do it too. They want to come over, walk on the keyboard. Stupid fucks. But yeah, you do it all with this headset. See the headset the kid's wearing? There's no controller. This is how you play these games. This is a clip from Brainstorm, beginning of Brainstorm. This is the original model. One guy's got the helmet on. It's being transmitted into Christopher Walken's head, where he's sitting in this big unit. Look, the first thing they show, the speaker blast, just like Marty in Back to the Future. Watch my Twin Pines Part 1 video. Something about this sound and consciousness. Then they put the monkey on the helmet on a monkey's head. Say, how you doing, Lena? The monkey's name is Lena. Lena. Nail. Lena. This is the 666. Our human higher awareness consciousness trapped in the cage of an animal body. Watch. Look. You really think this is just a movie? No. This ain't just a movie, dog. Back to the Future, War Games, Inception, Avatar, Existence, The Matrix. You think these are just movies? Nah, these guys can't write shit. They can't write good movies, songs, books, anything. They steal it or it's a true story. Period. Now later in the movie, they slimline it, refine it until it's, what do you know? It looks just like the old P300, the BrainLink. It's just a nice little headband, just like the Oculus Rift, just like your Google Glass, just like your Bluetooth headphones that are hanging around your fucking spinal column all day. Just like your cell phone that's pressed up against your brain all day. But nah, they couldn't possibly input signals. Nah, it's impossible. It's impossible. Okay, but look at the final version for consumers, and then I'm going to show you what we have in reality, primary experience. So let's check this out. They're showing it to the executives now. They say, how can we sell this thing? And you're going to see, they say, sorry, ladies, at the end of the demo reel, the first thing they make is porn. It's the first fucking thing they do. Virtual reality porn. So what is really the difference between this, Brainstorm, and this? It's the same thing. It's a difference of degree. It's not of nature. This is the same technology. And if you think this can't be developed to this point, then I'm just going to have to work harder to show you. Because it can. And it is. And that's what's happening. And of course, I think the porn's coming up here. The end of this clip. Yeah, Jacob Rothschild, loving it. See the dude with the big ass buck teeth? That's Mr. Burns. Oh, he's loving the porno. I gotta get me one of these fucking things. This is an advertisement for a real product. BrainLink Pro. Tell me this shit don't look exactly the motherfucking same. Okay, up top, we have the one from the movie, the Brainstorm headset. On the bottom, we got the advertisement for the real thing, the BrainLink. So, you got to remember, these things are interfacing with your virtual environment. And there's no hard connection. Okay? These are just placed on your dome. You don't get an IV, you don't get brain surgery. Okay? It's indirect. It's all external. So if they could do this in the 90s, the 2000s, do you think it always has to be pressed right up against your head? Or do you think they could refine and increase the amplitude of this signal over time? Of course they will. So it's not always going to have to be pressed right up against your head. Eventually, these, and like the parallel reality screen, it doesn't have to hit everyone at once. We can have multi-view pixels where it's sending a different signal to everyone else. There's a lot of cell phone towers around. There's a lot of Wi-Fi routers around. There's a lot of stingray towers, emitters, repeaters, satellite balloons, dishes. I mean, we're in a sea of EM waves, patterns, information being entered into our computer. Down the bottom is the BrainLink logo, the real item that you can purchase right now. Up top is the Brainstorm logo. It's the Ouroboros, the 8, the loop, the 666 loop. The top one, the Brainstorm one, obviously you can push it over and create a 6-pointed star. We have an astrological symbol in the middle. This is heat with stuff. But this is crossing wires. That's what this is. It's the crossing streams of consciousness. And this little part with the monkey, where they put the monkey feed into his head, Christopher Walken's head. They put the helmet on the monkey. Why do I say that's 666, the monkey in the cage? They call the monkey Lena. Lena. Some way this represents us, stuck in the cage, stuck in the animal body and being manipulated. Electronically. False inputs. So, Lina, Lina. It's an anagram for nail. If we look at the Hebrew alphabet, this honestly doesn't really help my point much because it says hook for Vav, 6, Vav. It says hook, but in other places you can see nail. Lina, nail. It looks like a nail. That's why some people say nail instead of hook. Vav, 6, Lena, nail, the monkey in the cage, the animal, the beast consciousness, the 666. This is also, in case you've never known where our word alphabet comes from, Aleph Bet. It's the first 2 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Aleph Bet. Aleph Bet Gimel. Just because I have the book out, you may come across 42. 42 is prominent in Kabbalah, in Hebrew mysticism. These are all warped and fucked up because they're pictures I'm taking out of books. The book that I've read about Kabbalah is Sefer Yetzirah by Aria Kaplan. I got a lot out of it. I found it extremely interesting. I read a lot of books that people say, oh, Kabbalah is evil. Oh, magic books? You can't look at magic. That's evil. Astrology's evil. Everything's evil to these fucking people. Look, knowledge isn't evil. There's only one thing that can be good or evil, and that's your intentions. Okay, so I might read the darkest, most disgusting black magic books, Kabbalah, different religious texts, and people get really freaked out by this, but you can't be afraid of knowing. it sounds corny, but knowledge is power. You're never going to understand the predicament you're in. You're never going to be able to take control of your own consciousness without some understanding of what's happening. And this is how the world works. This is a big basis of these people's method. And also it just makes sense. Another thing is it's Western. Like, you could study any scriptural text from all over the world, but the truth is, I was raised in America, in the West. It's my foundational frame of reference, and all religious scriptures are studies of consciousness, and I just find that the Western religions just kind of hit my symbols head on a little better, because I'm just better equipped to understand their metaphors and symbols in Western religion, because that is the, bloom where you're planted. That is my background, is a Western background. So I see 42 as a 6x7. So it's bringing the 777, the pure energy, the source, the mental realm, whatever you want to call it. It's bringing that energy into your 666 activities. It's pulling down this will, this energy. It's trying to transmute it into your workings in the physical world. 42. Also associated with the days of the week are the letters of the 42-letter name. And see, in Kabbalah, in the Zohar, and Bahir, and Talmud, I can't remember them all. Some of these other books, Jewish mysticism books, extra biblical Hebrew texts, there's all different names of God, and they have power to them. They're significant, different letters and configurations of the name, and there's a 42-letter secret name of God, or of Elohim. If we look at the table here of the 42-letter name, the 7 days by the 6-letter name, 6 letters for each day. Look at Monday, the moon, Monday, moon. Crow, Shaitan. Chronos, Satan. Shaitan. Chronos, Shaitan. Moon, moon day. Moon, Antichrist. Death Star. Chronos, Shaitan. Okay, another insane synchronicity, which I can't even stop from happening nowadays. It's just like, when it rains, it pours. But remember I was talking about the Trans-America Pyramid? This building, Donald Trump, Vornado, 555 California Street, taught in San Francisco, 52 stories, 7. The tower was the tallest building west of the Mississippi River until the completion of the Trans-America Pyramid. The Trans-America Pyramid featured prominently in Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The Trans-America Pyramid. An observation deck on the 27th floor, 999, same as 666, 27, the 999 number. An observation deck on the 27th floor was closed. The pyramid's official website says that it was closed to the public in 2001, while the New York Times reported that it has been closed since the 90s. So the pyramid said they closed the 666999 observation deck in 2001. New York Times says that's a lie. It's been closed for years. Why would they lie about that? Oh, because during the anniversary of 9/11, a brightly twinkling beacon called the Crown Jewel is lit at the top of the pyramid. 9/11, the Crown Jewel. Can't make this shit up. So now, back to Brainstorm for a second. What do we see in the highlight reel they're showing to the CEOs? Golden Gate Bridge. That timed it kind of fucked up. I'm sorry. Trans-America Pyramid, bitch. So I hope this just helps to start to bring within the bookends how is an objective and simultaneously subjective reality possible? How are edits to reality itself possible? And like I said, yes, back then. Okay, so put this together also with the Google patent. Electromagnetic frequencies from a monitor, from a TV screen, from a cell phone screen. So that's more distant. Imagine these BCI, the brain-computer interfaces, the parallel reality screen, the memory implants, and just think about the soup we're in of these signals 24/7. And it becomes pretty easy to imagine how these things can be accomplished. Nuts and bolts in reality. Okay, now, last thing, just another strange thing I thought of. Possible meaning of twin pines. You know, I'm big on twin pines. What does this really mean? I see it everywhere now. If you're familiar with Donald Marshall, any cloning type stuff, REM, cloning, any of this type of information. Or you could forget about all that if you don't want to accept that. It's not necessary for my hypothesis. But, so I should have shown that too. Cloning. It's real. We know cloning's real. I know people in person that don't, these people don't even have their own babies anymore, rich people. They all use surrogates, IVF. They don't have sperm. They find one sperm and duplicate it. Like, this shit is happening all over, right outside your window. What if twin pines is twin pineals? In other words, what if you have a true existence, true body, true reality, organic reality? What if somehow if a clone is created of you, or even of just your pineal gland? So if we're not the body, we're a pattern, we're an energy pattern, a field of probability that we're frequency that we're basically tuning into with our pineal gland. We are the field, and we're like a remote control vehicle. We're controlling the body through the pineal gland. Now, if a clone were created of you, or a clone of just your pineal gland, in a lab, underground, up top, in who knows where, doesn't matter where, in virtual space, inputs could be put into that cloned pineal, and you would receive them through the other body as well. They'd be like mirrored. So you could input or affect one, and it would be experienced by the other. So I wonder if this is a way of inputting. I wonder if this is part of the reality levers, part of the reality edits, part of Mandela effect, memory wipes, etc. If they take this genetic material from us and somehow duplicate our body or our pineal gland, and almost like hold it hostage and use it as a computer to control our organic selves. All right, that's all I got for now.